The first thing I'd like to know, Mr. Brock, is your full name.
Fleet Brock. Fleet, Fleet Brock. O-D-A-Y.
How old are you, Mr. Brock?
I'm 77, be 78 in August.
Well, now, what is this section right here where we're setting this area? What's it called?
Called Brocktown. Used to Brock's about all moved out. But started off back on a set of Brocks over here, put up over here in the valley. And old man John Brock and Grandpa Brock, Randy Woodson Brock.
Yeah.
They settled down over there, and they had quite a few young ones.
Must have.
My grandma had 15 children, and they called it Brocktown. And this creek down here, there was an old big poplar tree down there, and there's a big bear den in there, and the old bear had some cubs in there, and people passed by and see her going up and down the path, and they named that Cub Creek.
Well, I've often wondered about that. I'd heard it called Cub Creek, but I didn't know why.
That's the reason the name Cub Creek, because the bears was down there on the creek in that big poplar den.
Well, this is not too far from what, Moravian Falls, is it?
Just this side of Moravian Falls,
kind of east.
Half a mile east of Moravian Falls. Half a mile.
Well, now, have you lived in this section about all your life?
Yeah, all my life.
Yeah.
Live right here all my life.
Well, what has been your main occupation?
On the farm. I never worked nowhere, only on the farm. Well, I worked the cotton work a little back, about 1950 something on down there. Cotton work a little bit.
Well, now, you've seen it change, I guess, a lot since you was a little boy growing up right here, ain't you?
Oh, I sure have.
I mean, the woods all disappearing, the big trees and everything.
Big trees has done got gone. We used to have forest pine here, 4 foot through and 100 foot tall. And I cut them down and logged them with a yoke of oxen.
Is that right?
From my daddy, yeah.
Well, he running a sawmill?
Yeah, he runs a sawmill. He had an old steam sawmill that you fed it with slabs to make the power.
Well, how old was you? How old was you when you went to the sawmill working?
About 12 years old.
Most boys at that time, they growed up right here on the farm. They just went to work whenever they was old enough just to hold on to the plow handles, I guess.
That's right. I logged the timber from my daddy and Mr. Bradhall up here. He sold him some land over there, and I logged the timber. All I got out of it was I'd peel the log when I got it to the mill and dry the bark, and I'd sell the bark, and they'd give me that for logging.
Is that? Well, where would you sell it? Downtown?
Sell it downtown. There was a man down there that bought it. You would ross it. You break it and peel the old bark off, and the inside bark was white pine bark. I reckon they made turpentine or medicine out of it. And they'd buy that and pay 3 cents a pound for it. And you had to bale it up. You had to dry it. You had to throw it on a limb and dry it, and then you had to bale it up and carry it down there to S.B. Thomason's and sell it.
Well, that's how you got paid.
That's how I got paid. They couldn't afford to pay me for my labor. There wasn't that much money back then.
Well, I have an idea. You remember Wilkesboro when it was kind of dirt streets, stuff like that?
Yeah, I remember Wilkesboro. There's one store there. John Dooley had a little store there. Sold coffee and a little bit of grocery. Now, back when I was growing up, there wasn't no such thing as buying groceries. You didn't go to town and buy groceries. Sometimes you go down and get you some coffee.
Yeah.
And a slab of streaky lean meat. And some soup beans, dry beans. They had a barrel there, you get dry beans.
Yeah.
But maybe you go once a month and do that, get you some beans. But we raise most of everything we eat.
Yeah.
And when you raise some eggs or chickens and tuck them to the store, and if it come to more than the stuff that you bought, if it come more and you due some back, it wouldn't give you no money. It'd give you a due bill to come back next time and get you something.
They gonna get all your money.
Wasn't no money in the work It just
Well, there just wasn't that much money floating around.
there wasn't no money floating around. No.
Yeah.
No. You go to the store and take a dozen eggs, and they come to 10 cents, and you bought a nickel's worth of cheese. They give you a 5-cent due bill back.
Yeah.
You take that home and wait till you come back and need something.
Well, now, did you buy much cloth to make your clothes?
Yeah,
Or the people do the weaving? Did anybody do the weaving?
yeah. My
around?
grandma, she was a weaver. She weaved the wool to make the kids' clothes back there. And then, but after I come along, that you could buy cloth and a sewing machine and make her clothes. Mama made all of our clothes back there.
Well, now, how many was in your family?
Let's see this.
I mean, brothers and sisters.
There's Fred, Dean,
That's
eight children.
Are they all still living, or some of them gone
No,
on?
my brother's Fred, he's dead, and the rest of them live. Well, Lytle died when he was about 13 years old, and Dean died when he was about 10, and the rest of them living. There's 5 of us living.
Were they all in this country, or have they moved off?
Jerry lives, no, all in this country, my brother and sister. I got one son in Danville, Virginia.
Yeah.
And we
But
have 7 in
them-
our family.
7 in your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. You and your wife got 7 kids?
Right.
Yeah.
And my grandma, she had 15. There's 3 women there in Brocktown had 35 children.
Well, that's no wonder it's called Brocktown. That little town within itself, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, back then, they had midwives, I guess, didn't it? They didn't have any
yeah,
doctors.
wasn't no. I can remember when one doctor finally come to North Wilkesboro, Dr. White.
Mhm.
And I remember the first car I ever seen.
Is that right?
Yeah, I remember the first car I ever come to this country. I mean, this neighborhood
Yeah.
here. Ron Jennings over here, he got a T model and about a 19 and 19. And my sister had diphtheria.
Yeah.
And he told my dad, he said, you ought to take her down to Doc White and let Doc White look at her. They let me ride along. I was about 7 years old, because I knew, never rode in a car, never seen a car.
Boy, I bet that's something else. Well, that'd be like riding in a jet plane or something, wouldn't it?
I never saw a car, and boy, I thought that was something else.
Yeah.
We rode down there, and he doctored my sister, and she got all right.
Yeah.
And when I was 14 years old, my daddy, he's cutting cross ties way back on the Brushy Mountain up here, about 7 miles.
Yeah.
And I hitched up we got an old horse by that time, big old white horse.
Yeah.
I hitched up that white horse when I was 14 now.
Yeah.
And drove up there and loaded 5 cross ties on a 1-horse wagon, carried them to North Wilkesboro, went back and got another load and carried another load the same day, 2 loads, 14
Good.
miles. That's 28 miles I drove that day. And those cross ties weighed about 300 pounds apiece, and I loaded them when I was only 14 years old. Carried them to North Wilkesboro and sold them. I think I got 50 cents a piece for the tie.
14 and loading them big cross ties.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that I could do it.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And what I mean is back in a branch, and I had to load them things
Get 'em out of there.
uphill onto that wagon.
Yeah.
7 by 9 oak and them green, and load them by myself. Didn't nobody help me.
When your daddy what did he do? Chop them things out, hew them out, or
No, they had an old sawmill.
old sawmill back in
They
there?
sawed them out with a steam boiler sawmill, power steam.
Boy, you must have been some kind of tough pine knot back then.
I was. Now that's the truth. Oh, I was something tough.
Well, I mean, boys back then, they worked and they was tough, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
When I guess you did a lot of walking too, didn't you?
Law, I worked up there. It's 5 miles.
Uh-huh.
It's right at 5 miles.
Yeah.
And I could run all the way home, but there's one hill over here I had to stop and rest.
Yeah.
I'd run 5 miles. When night had come, I'd run home.
Yeah.
But then how the old horse was working him, I'd get on him and
Yeah.
he'd bring me home, and it amazed me how he could follow the paths pitch dark.
Yeah.
All I had to do was get on him and turn him loose, and he'd go home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, did you ever raise much tobacco back up in here?
never did it. they never did raise much tobacco in this country.
Just enough maybe to chew or
Yeah,
smoke
no,
or
some
something?
to chew on, that's
Yeah.
all. They raised their own chewing tobacco back then.
Did you ever raise any cotton?
No cotton.
Too far north, I guess, or
Yeah,
just too hilly or something for cotton? wasn't it?
Corn and wheat.
Corn and wheat.
They thrashed their own wheat and had it ground
Yeah.
for their own. They had a meal down here in Wilkesboro. They ground the wheat for flour.
Yeah.
And baked their own bread out on a later. But when I was a kid, it wasn't.
You eat a lot of cornbread, I guess, back then.
Cornbread. Old man Sid Parker up here, he hewed out rocks and made him a meal.
Uh-huh.
He settled down up there in a holler about 4 miles from here.
Yeah.
And he made him a meal to grind corn. We'd carry a half bushel of corn up there and bring it back for bread. And then my grandpa here after he got him one, he put him one. We had a nearer meal to go to then over here in the valley, Brocktown.
Well, as progress coming along, people getting more populated, and they had to have more meals, I guess, and to help meet the demand for grinding the corn and stuff.
Yeah, and he made him he rigged him up a sawmill and he saw the lumber and they had hand grew the flooring that they put in their houses.
Mm-hmm.
It'd come along then. It'd build log houses and take an old hand thing and groove it, make it tongue and groove.
Yeah. Talking about that log house, was you born in a log house? Or did you ever live in a log house?
No, I never did live in a log house. I was born over here in a weatherboard house that my daddy built when he come back from Illinois.
Yeah. Now, your daddy went to Illinois?
He went to Illinois back just right after he was first married, him and my Uncle Charlie Brock.
Uh-huh.
And they worked out there till the first baby was born, Fred.
Uh-huh.
And worked out $700 and came back here and bought 400 acres of land. And then bought their steam sawmill. And
Boy, $700 back then was a lot of money, wasn't it?
it was a lot of money, bought a lot of land,
That's
didn't
what
it?
I mean, yeah. Well, now, how much did land sell for back then? Dollar an acre?
Anywhere from 50 cents to $1.50 an acre.
Just according to how it laid, I guess.
Yeah, good land brought $1.50, and old back land.
Yeah. Or hilly land.
50, 65 cents an acre.
Covered in timber too, I guess, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, covered in virgin timber.
Virgin timber,
Yeah.
forest pine.
Yeah, forest pine.
Boy, it'd be $1,000, $2,000 an acre now, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
If you couldn't even find it.
No, you couldn't. If you had this year covered in forest pine like it was then, you get $5,000 an acre, I bet you.
Yeah. Timber alone.
Yeah, timber alone, not counting land.
Yeah. Well, I tell you,
Changes.
times change, don't
Time changed in the last 50 years. It's something this way.
they? That's why I said to start with a while ago, you've seen a lot of changes in your lifetime of how things, well, we call it primitive in a way, I guess, to where it's modern computer age.
Yeah, that's right.
People on the moon. I have an idea of your daddy, if anybody had ever told him somebody could go to the moon, he'd thought they're crazy, wouldn't he?
He would, yeah. Tell me.
You remember your first radio?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a little radio and it had a little eye on it to tell you when you was on the
Station?
station good.
Yeah.
It'd come show up, little green eye.
Yeah. Well, what did you listen to back then much? Grand Ole Opry or?
Yeah, news and Grand Ole Opry about all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you get some news. And
There wasn't that
you
many
listen to the preacher. There's a lot of preaching going on the radio when they first come out.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Still going on, but I mean, I never thought about it going on then.
Right, yeah, yeah. I know Mr. Bradhall, he was a German, and he bought a piece of land up here, and he had an orchard up the holler up here. And for he bought a T-model truck.
Mhm.
Oh, pretty good. You remember them old T-model 1-ton trucks?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he had a T-model 1-ton truck. And we loaded that thing with apples one morning and at 7 o'clock. And it was kind of rainy. And we hit out to Charlotte, that load of apples at 7 o'clock, and it took us till 9 o'clock that night to get to Charlotte.
That long? Well,
That
I guess
long.
dirt roads, wasn't it?
It was, we got down yonder at Barham Springs and
Uh-huh.
and get the name of that other place on the other side of
Troutman?
Mooresville.
Oh,
That was all red clay stuff, you know, and it was the winter time, and
Yeah.
so much running over it, it just cut up in red sloppy mud.
Yeah.
They went out in the pine field and cut poles and laid them like that, so you could ride over them poles. And we
Going on into Charlotte.
went on into Charlotte, just a pole road in places down there where
What
that.
would that been? Cornelius or?
Yeah, Cornelius.
Yeah.
It's just an old red clay, you know, country, and
But it was dirt road from here to there, wasn't it?
yeah, dirt road from here to Charlotte. They had they had good streets in Charlotte. But I remember we got down below the under the railroad track down there. The railroad went over the street, and we sold our apples the next day. I was going to tell you, he sent a fella. He mailed a friend of his down there 7 pints of liquor. And it went to raining and freezing on us. We had to raise the windshield. That rain come right on, and we got cold.
Uh-huh.
We got up there and got out the liquor and drank before we got there.
Well, you had to stay alive, didn't you?
Had to stay alive, about freezing to death. And I had a new raincoat on, and when I got out down there, I had so much ice on it, just tore it off on me. Split it wide open.
But that feller didn't get his liquor, did he?
No, he got some. We saved him some. I don't remember how much. But he saved. But boy, that liquor come in good along about 2 o'clock and hit pouring down the rain. The freezing is awful cold.
Yeah.
Just pouring rain down freezing. Next morning, old lady cooked. She fixed us some breakfast, and she fried pancakes, and we thought she fried them all for us, you know. We had a whole stack of them. Me and Coy eat them all, and then they didn't have nothing to eat.
She learned better and set that stuff out in front of y'all boys, didn't
She was going to let us eat so
Yeah.
we'd go on and sell, you know.
Yeah.
She expected us to leave the family some, but we didn't leave the family anything. We didn't know. We thought she fried it all for us, but she fried it for the whole family.
That's real good. I like
Oh.
it. How much did you get for your apples? That when you remember, or roughly? I mean, you don't have to pinpoint down on the money.
Let's see. I believe it's 65 cents a bushel. I believe that's what we got for the first apple I have hauled.
Did you sell them pretty quick, or did they?
Yeah, we sold them next day. Just
Like that.
right fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sold them out and come home.
You didn't have no liquor coming home, though, did
No.
you? But at least it quit raining.
Yeah. Yeah, it quit raining. We got home quicker.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of apples been growing up here on the brushes, hadn't there?
Yes, sure had. I growed apples for a long time.
Yeah.
When I first got married, I went to work for old man Bradhole up here. I worked for him 5 years, 15 cents an hour. Then after I left him, I went to work for my daddy-in-law and Arthur Edson. I worked for them 5 years, 10 cents an hour, raising my babies.
Uh-huh.
And then I bought me a little old A-model pickup and went to hauling apples. And hauled apples there about 20 years. And then I bought me an orchard and went to raising apples. Raising apples a good long while. Had cancer 7 years ago and I had to give up my orchard and let it grow up.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I bet you missed it too, didn't you? I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you seem like
I
a fella-
enjoyed raising apples. I enjoyed watching them grow. You know.
Yeah.
It was fun to me.
Well, back when you first started growing the apples, you probably didn't have to spray them like they do now, did you?
Oh no, I think you spray them. Put a Dorman spray on early spring before the buds swell,
Uh-huh.
and then when the apples bloom turn pink,
Yeah.
they call it a pink spray. You put the pink spray on.
Uh-huh.
Then when the petals shed off, you call that the petal spray. You put a petal spray on. And then the 1st of June, you call that a cover spray. You put a cover spray on. That's all you had to spray them then.
Yeah.
But when my daddy was growing up, they didn't have to spray at all. I think you had to put a Dorman spray on to keep the mites and scale. Scale, you know what scale is.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I think you had to put lime sulfur on, keep the scale down. Outside that, there wasn't no scab. Scab comes from Germany over here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I wish they'd never brought it over here.
Yeah, I bet you a lot of people
These people has to go out here every Monday morning and spray. keep that scab off of their apples.
Well, what kind of apple did you grow back then?
Oh, they didn't have anything back then much but a wine sap and a limber twig and a magnum bonum, they call it. Bonum.
Yeah.
Bonum apple.
I remember those old names when I was a kid growing up.
Boy, them old bonums are good apples. They about the thing of the past. Few people have got a few of them left yet. And that limber twig, they about played out.
Yeah.
There's a few boys got limber twigs yet.
I have an idea too that the people that grew apples, they probably had a little outfit set up on a brink somewhere to make a little brandy once in a while too, didn't they? Or some of the people. I'm not talking about all of it, but some of them probably.
Yeah,
There's a lot of it. Wilkes County didn't get its reputation years ago for nothing.
no, sure,
But it was settled by a type of people that believed in making whiskey
That's
and
right.
making brandy. Scotch-Irish type of people, and I have an idea back then there was some of that went on too back in the brushes.
Yeah, boy, there's a lot of brandy made in the brushing.
Well, stop to think about
it.
it.
It's good too.
Yeah. Stop to think about it. It was hard to get your corn to market. As corn, it was hard to get the apples to market as apples, but if you could convert it into whiskey and brandy, that wasn't too hard to get to market, was it?
No.
I mean, you had a bigger demand for it.
That's right, bigger demand.
Yeah.
They got down here in town and sells these here lawyers and they'd tell their buddies and
Yeah.
you had no trouble getting rid of that.
Well, back then, the man that made it took a lot more pride in making it than they do now. He wasn't that big a hurry, was he?
No.
Made good stuff, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they didn't adulterate it. They made pure stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt you like it does
Yeah.
now. Pure stuff's thing of the past.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They
They
just too big a
still
hurry.
make brandy, but they
They don't make
adulterate it up to make more of it, you know,
Yeah.
out of what they boil.
Yeah.
It hurts people.
Oh yeah.
They fill it full of sugar.
Stuff that don't need to be in.
Yeah,
You got a bunch of chickens, hadn't
I got some chickens and guineas.
you? I seen some big game roosters as I was coming in a while ago. Some of
Yeah,
them,
they
you
got
got
more
any?
rooster now. Pullets. The old hawk caught about all over the pullets.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't hear tell down in our country much anymore. We don't see the hawk like that. But then again, we don't have chickens running loose. I live down in Yankton County, and most people down that way either got chicken houses or they go to town and buy their chickens. You know.
I saw a drove a whole gang of them over here the other day. I don't know why they're together. There's 8 big hawks there together, swimming, flying around like buzzard together. You know. I never seen that before. But there was 8 of them.
Is that? Well, now, talking about them hawks and hunting and everything, chickens, did you ever do much hunting back when you was a boy?
Yeah. My daddy, he's awful bad to hunt, and I've been bad to hunt all my life.
A lot more game back then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's all gone now due to population, people moving in.
Yeah, when we get through, I'll show you my son's deer heads in here and mine.
Yeah.
We've been all hunters.
Well, now, where do you hunt deer now? Back in the mountains? or-
Back over in the refuge, and
Oh, yeah.
boy, they're getting to be around here now. My
Yeah.
son killed one up on the mountain here last year.
Yeah.
Killed a nice one up here on the brushy mountain.
Did you ever hunt much squirrels?
Yeah. Oh boy.
That put good meat on the table, didn't it?
Yes, sir. And they were squirrels to hunt back then. You go out and kill you. I know when I was raising my babies, I worked 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I worked Mr. Brow 10 hours, and then I'd work in my garden at about 2 or 3 hours. And I'd go squirrel hunting in the morning. I'd kill 4 squirrels and back to the house and go to work for him at 7 o'clock. Well, no trouble to go out and get you a bunch of squirrels.
What'd you use? Single shot 22 or a shotgun or what?
I used 22 part of the time. Most time then, though, I wanted to shoot them in a hurry. I didn't want to wait on them. Use a little 16 gauge shotgun.
Uh-huh.
And kill. And I had a little dog. He's a bobtail dog.
Yeah.
You could just take him out and you get all the rabbits you want. And you didn't have to fire a shot. You'd put them in a holler sourwood and you twist them out.
Twist them out.
Yeah. You take a little stick and run up there with a burr on it and twist, pull him right out.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like one evening, went from here to Coon Holler about a mile and a half up there and got 7 rabbits and didn't fire a shot. Ammunition hard to get a hold of. You didn't use it unless you had to. I mean,
Unless you really need it.
that's right, really needed it.
That falls into place. I was talking to a fella down in Surrey County. He was 82 years old. And he said when he'd go to squirrel hunting, a lot of times he'd try to line up 2 squirrels. Well, you know, the squirrel, like you said, was thick then.
Yeah.
He'd try to line up 2 squirrels and get them both same shot.
Have
Because
you
he
ever
didn't have that
squirrel
much
hunted
bullets.
much?
Huh?
Have you ever squirrel hunted much?
A little bit, yeah.
Have you ever seen them come down a tree and stick their nose together?
Yeah.
Now that's what you waited on. You get both of them.
In one shot.
Yeah.
Well, that falls.
I got 3 one morning, but I could never find the third one.
Well, when like you say, when ammunition's hard to get, you just don't go out
Oh,
here
it's
and blow
hard
it
to
away,
get.
do you?
It's hard to get any money to buy it.
Yeah.
You had to buy all your ammunition back then. It didn't have loaders like you got now. My son,
Yeah.
he got a loader now. He loaded his own stuff, his
Yeah.
rifle and his shotgun. But back then you didn't have loaders, and you had to buy that ammunition wherever they ended up about New York or somewhere.
Yeah.
And you had to pay for it.
You just didn't go out here and
it
just
didn't come easy. And
shoot at tin cans or.
That's right. My daddy said he used to squirrel up with a muzzle loading shotgun. He had a little, and he'd put just half a load in there and get as close as he could to that squirrel to get it in order to save his ammunition.
Save that powder, wouldn't it?
Yeah, save that powder.
But my father-in-law grew up on the mountains, and I used to hunt with him, and it kind of seemed strange at that time, back years ago. Didn't think too much about it, but he'd carry a little old single-shot 22. And after I'd hunted with him a while, I realized that he was getting more game than I was, and I was carrying a double-barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
And he'd be getting rabbits. He didn't even shoot like you. He'd just slip up on them and whack them in the head with a stick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just reach and get them. And
That's right.
save that bullet.
Save that bullet.
I'd notice him we'd leave in the mornings, he'd count his bullets. And then when we come in that night, he'd count them again.
Yeah.
And every bullet is missing, he had either a squirrel or a rabbit. And they'd be shot through the head too, because he says you don't want to shoot them through the body.